But to kind of start with, I think that one of the things that is very much the same today as it was in the days of our own first Revolutionary War are that we American citizens are being subjected to rules and rulers that are detrimental to our well-being. That the same conditions and the same, many instances, that almost duplicate sort of transgressions committed by King George the First. I think it was the first. Anyway, King George, the one that was King of England during the Revolutionary War, and George Bush, a very similar characteristic. If you read the complaints that the colonists had with the king, many of those same complaints can legitimately be made today about George Bush. There's the idea, though, of having a revolution in the sense that some uprising occurs where a government is overthrown and a new government is installed is simply not possible in today's world for a number of reasons. One, although the conditions that existed at the time of the Revolutionary War in terms of oppression are fairly well duplicated now, the people ain't. See, we're not like our forefathers. They had a plan, they had a purpose, they had something they wanted to do. They had something that they were in the process of doing and dedicated to and invested in. See, apathy can't start a revolution. Although I think that apathy is not really an apt description of our current mental state as a nation. I think that since 9/11, that we as a people have been suffering from clinical post-traumatic stress syndrome. That we're incapable of making rational decisions and following through with them and organizing ourselves in any way. We can't even get back to the 60s again. We're not going to have big, massive marches and voter right things and all of that stuff. That's not going to happen anymore. People don't have the energy, the ambition, the whatever, the sanity to get that involved in trying to change something. We simply whine about it for a few days and then start whining about something totally irrelevant to the main factor. And the main factor, of course, affecting our world today is the war in Iraq and the total and the disintegration of our freedom as a nation and as a people that's taken place since 9/11. Now, something as dramatic and as traumatic as a revolution needs to occur is just, we can't bring that off anymore. First place, that whole destroying buildings and killing people as a means of resolving issues hasn't worked, and it's not going to work, and it can't work now. And if it were to work, we've got people willing to try that. We have a number of groups in America who feel that they will be fighting someday against the federal government. And they're pretty well armed with 50 caliber machine guns and maybe even a soldier-fired missile or two. But they don't have cruise missiles. They don't have battalions of tanks. There's simply no way of mounting a viable force that could, in fact, overthrow our government, and probably in most cases, most governments. That didn't happen in Russia. That sort of takeover could only take place today in very low third world countries. The previous video was truncated in order to comply with YouTube's 5-minute attention span limitation. The next part will follow immediately.